Greetings, my name is Michael Miller. This is a Michael Miller trademark training video out to you because you're watching. Thank you and welcome. It's meant for Michael Miller Pilates licensed affiliates, the Core New Core, my patrons Clayton, Ruby, Stephanie, and Jonathan, and anyone interested in surviving and thriving as a Pilates instructor or student. There's just one title today, and that is what makes MMP MMP. So on social media I came across an invitation to attend a workshop, and I want to go. I want to go. It's someone that claims 19 years experience teaching with Ramana, and that will cover the whole classical picture and give you an understanding of the system. I don't know, it's well written, really well written invitation. And so it made me feel like, well, if someone's out there and they're really delivering what they say they're delivering, I could just fold up my tent and go home. And that's why what makes MMP MMP the title of today's broadcast. Because rather than the 19 years experience with Ramana, so here's evaluating. MMP is about Joe's work directly, meaning what he wrote in his book, and his pictures in his book. But his book is the basis of the authority that MMP stands upon, without any association to anybody that knew him. Even though I've known people that have known him, and there are others that have known him directly. But all of that order of who you know and who they knew and how it feeds back to Joe himself, MMP as a point of view comes right out of Joe's book. That's the first thing I'd say in identifying what makes it what it is. It's right out of Joe's book. You can say it's right out of Joe's book, but then what is it that comes out of Joe's book, right? And that would be a theory that there's an ideal within Joe's book, within his statement about what it is, within his statement about how it happens, and within his the exercises and the order that they're presented in as a choreography. So it's Joe's work directly and a theory based on Joe's work. Okay? That's what makes MMP MMP. Now, MMP says that Pilates is an experience. So that would come in second in my list, and just bringing these together over the course of my morning, right? They're not carved in stone, but really, what makes MMP MMP is the claim that in Pilates there's an experience to be had. A state of being in the body, in the moment of the doing. That's a rather refined, a lot in the chorus, you included probably, would say, well, that's true across Pilates. And if that's so, that's great. But within MMP, the experience is the target. Because the experience is complete coordination of, within MMP, being, thinking, and observing. And so it's the experience, well, and see, I went looking for where to go next in my comments, and number 3 is at observing. And so MMP is a point of view of Pilates that takes body, mind, and spirit as being, thinking, and observing, and your job as an instructor is working toward helping your student accomplish the experience. In the midst of doing the mat, or preparing to do the mat, or mirroring the mat, or being resonant to what happens in the mat. Flexion, extension, side bending, rotation, and torsion. So, MMP is just straight from Joe, out of a book that you can go buy if you don't already have, and read for yourself what's there, and then let that be the basis of the theory about an ideal that exists within those words. The great thing about the theory of this ideal is that it produces a feeling. It's an ideal you can feel. I like those words. An ideal you can feel. And it's in reaching for the performance of an ideal, reaching for an ideal effort in your movement, that I find the experience that I'm talking about. Four is observing. No, 3 was observing. And number 4, and I only have 4 items in what makes MMP. There might be others. But core new tension is the way to whole body. That's a claim of mine, that it's through core new tension that the body most uniformly distributes the load that it's under, and it does, and that of course presumes an acknowledgement of the endpoints within the body between which the core new tension exists. So, I so want to go to that workshop to be able to connect more closely to someone so closely connected to Romana and her influence on this book by Freeman and Eisen. So I'm thinking about what would I probably not see in this really great description of getting a handle on Pilates, that, you know, from the participation in it. Sounds great. I want to go. In terms of what's in MMP as a POV, that may not be what's there. Might be, but in MMP the grounding doesn't start at Romana or come through a tradition of lineage through anybody that knew him, but starts with Joe's book. So MMP, Joe's book, is what MMP is based on. With that came the theory, and then the experience that's based on the coordination of being, thinking, and observing, and then observing that, or spirit in Joe's definition within MMP is observing. So that would be a fifth thing, maybe. Well, core new tension is the way to whole body, but then this whole thing of sending your student into the cave of their own awareness to be able to discern and take more control. I'm sure everybody, all of us, participate in that effort. It's the degree to which you understand what's going on behind the curtain, insofar as looking at the physics that the biology is trying to survive in, and seeing how the biology reflects the physics that it finds itself in. Core new tension isn't an accident. I'm just pointing it out. It's evolved over millions of years. And it's the way the body distributes load between the endpoints that it has a capacity to do it with. I think that workshop would be such a great experience of richness, of traditional connection from Joe through Ramana to a student of Ramana's. And whoever's writing the text for her workshop is really offering what everybody wants in terms of what? Empowerment and inspiration and empowerment. Yeah. Empowerment. New places to go, new experiences to look for. I say get the best of what you can while you can from the lineage of people that knew Joe. And the more the better from the more the better, because that's an evaporating connection to the method. In pursuing the ideal in Joe's work, to whatever extent that ideal exists, it will not evaporate at all. It will only become more clear. So when you have a perspective that lets you see more clearly than the bulk of the perception that's out there, do a good job of holding the curtain aside, empowering your students to be aware of what's going on and how best to empower others to the same thing. And by that I just mean being mindful and being able to concentrate on performing the mat through the pursuit of the ideals that you are involved in as a human being within the physics that we exist in. While we can, because life can't live forever. Read between the lines, see behind the curtain, evaluate points of view, and then add two and two. Direct your thinking. Set your sail. Geist.